Doing a hair tutorial for you today using a set of hot rollers. These are the ones that I mentioned in my haul, and so many of you said, how do you use those? So I'm going to show you exactly how I use them in this video. The placement of the rollers, why I, put them in like I do, and just some tips for getting the longest lasting curl out of a set of hot rollers. Also, with my hair today, as you can see, it's kind of basic. It's a side part, it's just down, but using rollers in your hair can also be a great base curl for a lot of different styles. You can put your hair in rollers and then you can do, a side swept look like this. You can pull half of it up, or you can, group this hair into a nice loose bun, and, that can be a more texturized, interesting look for it. So don't think that the only thing you have to do with rollers is leave your hair down, because that's so not the case. What I love about rollers the most, using hot rollers in the morning, is that you put them in and you can go off and do other things. You're not a slave to your hair standing there holding the curling iron, waiting for the curl to take. So if you want to see how the whole process goes, keep on watching. You want to make sure your hair is totally dry. Make sure all the tangles are out of it, and I like to use a heat protectant spray before I do any kind of heat styling. Right now I have the Not Your Mother's Beat the Heat Thermal Styling Spray, and I got this from Walmart, and I just like to kind of put a little bit of that into my hand and just run my hands all over my hair. Then you want to make sure your rollers are completely heated up. One way you can tell is that there's a dot on one of the rollers, and when that turns from red to white, you're good to go. That usually just takes a couple of minutes, but I kind of like to let them sit and heat for even a little bit longer, just because I feel like the effect turns out to be better. So if you have extra time and you can just get the rollers going a little bit sooner, I think you get an even longer lasting, more lofting curl. When it comes to putting them in, I almost always start with my hair parted on the side. Even if I might end up doing a center part style and flipping part of it over, I just like the effect that I get when I start on the side. I feel like even if I flip it over, it looks a little less defined, you don't have that look of, oh, here's my rollers right there. The shape of the hair just seems a little more organic, I guess, when you start on the side. All the rollers are relatively small in this set, but I generally start with the larger rollers and use those on the top part of my head, so I've got a little bit more of a smoother wave up here, and then end with the smaller rollers toward the bottom. And this is about how long my hair is right now. In terms of the clips I'll be using, they're shaped like this. They just fit really snug right over the roller. First off, you see my part there? I'm going to take maybe an inch of hair going about halfway back onto the top of my head, and that's going to be my first section. The smaller the amount of hair you put over the roller, the more effect of the curl you're going to have. If you put a ton of hair around the roller, you will get kind of a softer wave. So it's kind of a work in progress, trial and error to see exactly what works the best. But I've just rolled that up, find a coral clip, pop it on there, and you're good. You can see I've got major layers here. What I'll sometimes do is do a little twist of the hair, and that way it wraps around the roller a little bit more easily. So I just go around here, kind of tap there on the end of the hair that might want to fray out, and then you just roll, roll, roll. I'll also do, kind of a larger size right on the back here, so I'm pulling up about this much hair, and don't go too much wider than the width of that roller. Taking, again, larger rollers on the top part of my head. I'm going to also use a large roller on this side. Alright, I just added one more roller right below the one in my crown, another one over here. Something I want to stress is that this does not have to be perfect. I mean, this is just the styling time of your hair. If it gets around the roller and it gets hot, and it stays there for enough time, you're going to end up with a curl. The way I've wrapped them around, because they're going sideways like this, I'm putting those in for volume. They're getting close to my scalp, and the hair is coming right up. You see how the hair is lifting straight up as it goes over the roller. Just a quick example of what not to do is rolling a roller like that and then letting it, like, say, sag down like this. See how the hair is really, you know, lagging? You want to keep it rolled up tight so the hair is kind of coming right off the scalp and onto the roller. Now next, I'm going to put in my next sort of round of rollers. I'm going to do those vertically. That way I'm going to get more of a, instead of a sort of the old-fashioned wave that you can get from putting in rollers this way, you're going to get more of a modern, almost like spiral type curl or wave with this. So for that, I'm just going to take, again, similar sections, but we're parting it like that. Take the roller, wrap it around, and then I always wrap these away from my face. And do the same thing just behind that roller. We're going to roll it on up. And I find that these rollers do have the best effect on clean hair. If you're doing like second day hair that's already got some product in it, the curled effect is not as strong. All right, so here's what I've done. I've got 3 rollers on this side, 3 rollers vertically on this side. I've added just a couple more of those pink mid-sized rollers to the back. This is probably about a roller's worth. This is a roller's worth. And what's back behind here is maybe 2. So I've got 2 more pink rollers left. I think I'll do those on each side, and then I'll do 2 orange rollers with what's in the back. And so I'm just going to continue to do these vertically. So wrap around, twist the hair if you need to. So now this is what we're working with the rollers. I'm going to go ahead and leave these in for, say, a half hour or so. That's really great if you can leave them in a half hour. I've left them in as little as 10 minutes and still gotten, you know, a nice wave out of it. But I will see you in a little bit. Now the fun part comes, and that's taking them out. But I first want to show you, while this thing is mostly empty, these go down into the container here and sit on little posts. That's how the heat gets to the rollers. So I'm just going to start taking them out and see what I have. I want to show you now that they're out about the difference in the curls. The ones that we placed going sideways like this, you can see they were larger rollers, number 1, so the curl is a little bit looser, a little bit larger, but we are getting, you know, that lift from here, and you can see we're getting the lift in the crown as well because that's the way we put those in. But then as you look at the hair that's right down here that we put in with a roller sideways, you can see you're getting a curl that's going away from the face, a little more going vertically instead of, you know, the way we have it up here. In terms of styling, I'm going to go for just a side part, how this is today. And what I first like to do is tip my head over, really work my fingers into my scalp and kind of loosen up some of these curls. So I'll do that. And now you can see when you start to separate those curls, the amount of volume you have really increases. And then for styling, I don't do a whole heck of a lot to this, but what I will do is take kind of this front section right here. So I go back about that much, pull up this section. I put a little hairspray behind it. I take a teasing comb, take any kind of fine-toothed comb you have, tease this part a little bit, and you could tease it in the crown as well and make it kind of big back there if you want to. But I kind of just like to get a little bit of like a side bang almost kind of coming across here. And just by teasing that, you get just a little more control with how this goes. And then I spray that. I grab this part, just kind of how we put it over the roller, spritz it a little bit on the underside, gives it a little more texture, tease it, and then kind of comb down over it just lightly. To finish the style, I'll just give it a little more spray on what's happening on the bottom there, and then you're done. So that's my tutorial for these hot rollers. Even if I were using a different set, I pretty much would put them in with that same kind of pattern. Just a few impressions about this particular set of rollers. One of the things I love about it so much and that has set it apart from any roller set I've had is the price is really good, number 1, and number 2, the rollers are incredibly lightweight on your head. I also like the clips because these clips do not create any kind of bump or, you know, dent on the hair. Like that was the issue with my Remington heated clip rollers. I felt like I would put the clip on and then it would be very obvious where that clip was. And so I had to use different clips on the top part of my hair. Here I can use what's provided and that works fine. Keep in mind this is a smaller set of rollers and that may not be for everyone. Not everyone wants, you know, this amount of curl or wave in their hair when they're done with it. You may just want, you know, that volume at the crown and volume all over and kind of a smooth look, and you can get that with larger sets of rollers. And I've been asked, you know, well, does the curl last a long time and things like that. And for me, my hair does not like to hold a curl very well, and if I go out, you know, right out into a lot of humidity, will that affect the staying power of these curls? Absolutely. It really unfortunately will. But if you're, you know, staying in kind of an air-conditioned environment and you've put a little hairspray on it, the curls will stay. Another factor that can improve the staying power of your curls is the amount of hair you put around each roller. If you can do a little less and maybe you end up using more of your rollers all over, you're gonna have better holding curls, and you're also gonna have a better hold the longer you can leave the rollers in. So just something to think about there. If you're wanting looser waves or, you know, not as tight of a hold, put more hair around each curler and don't leave them in as long. So I hope this helped you out if you're trying to figure out how to use a set of hot rollers. It really helps out my morning routine because instead of waiting and going around your hair and holding with a curling iron, you know, you pop these in, you do some other things, you get your coffee ready, you pack your lunch, and, you know, before you know it, it's time to take the rollers out and you've got your style. And as you can see, the styling did not take long for this look. So thanks again for watching. Have a great day and I'll see you again soon. Bye.